You're watching Southern River Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and into fitness, and we hope to have guests that will inspire you. Well, I guarantee you, this week you will be inspired, and then some, because we have a father-daughter combination from Arcadia, Wisconsin. My guest, a coach, a father, a husband, an administrator, you name it, Paul Halverson, along with his daughter, a athlete, a academic standout, multiple sports, you name it, Chloe Halverson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Well, it's been an interesting year. Start out with that comment. Everybody knows, interesting year with the pandemic, with a toxic election, with a recession, with virtual learning. I mean, a year unlike any other year. As an administrator, what are your thoughts on that? Has it been challenging for you, Paul?
It has been very challenging, actually. It's taken its toll on our teachers. Our teachers are very tired. I'm very tired. But kids are resilient, and teachers are resilient. We'll get through this, and with a smile.
Well, you've had virtual learning, but you're back full-time. We talked before we went on camera. Lacrosse is going back full-time to public schools right after Easter. But the virtual learning, and of course the diversity economically and so on in Arcadia has changed dramatically. So all those things have become a challenge, haven't they?
Absolutely. We had to accommodate for students that do not have Wi-Fi at home. We had to have hotspots put in for a lot of students. But our teachers did a wonderful job of learning some professional development and how to use this technology. That's one good thing about the pandemic is it's made us more broad where we can actually teach kids at home. We didn't have any snow days this year.
Yeah. Well, and Paul, the principal at Arcadia Elementary, a leader, certainly this is the time in the history of this country when leadership needs to be show their true colors, no question about it. Chloe, too. I have grandchildren that are your age, and lots of friends that have kids in school, and struggling with virtual learning and the uncertainty of game schedules. No spring sports last year, and you've excelled in softball. And then an abbreviated volleyball season, an uncertainty in basketball, no pep assemblies, limited fans at the games. Everything that a senior looks forward to, on the court, on the field, and off, taken away from you, Chloe.
Yeah, it's definitely not the senior year that I anticipated at all, like growing up, but I was just thankful that everything wasn't cut off completely. Like, we still got to experience so many good things this year. Like, even playing 5 volleyball games, it's better than 0. I don't know. You got to look at your class half full rather than half empty, I guess.
But that's an interesting, that's a mature comment you just made. Not a lot of people look at it that way. Somebody that's 17, 18 years old, senior in high school. It's been emotional for you too, hasn't it? Knowing that all those special things gone.
Yeah, especially like even limited fan base and stuff like that, like grandparents, parents, like friends, everything. They weren't even able to come to any of our games or do anything like that.
Well, again, Chloe and Paul Halverson, my guests this week. Chloe, I watched you play a couple games this year as a senior. Just finished 4 years on the Arcadia varsity girls basketball team. And all Cooley, your junior and senior year, averaged 12 points a game this past year, 8 rebounds. Now, you were nominated, and I know this because I'm involved with the WBCA, for the All-Star Games in July.
Yep.
And?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing.
Oh, good. I said you were nominated because I saw the list of nominations. But as we tape the show here, by the way, on March 17th, I didn't know you were selected, but do you realize, because I've been involved in those games for a decade, you realize what kind of an honor that is?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be playing with some of the great girls, even people I've played against, so
Division
I'm
III.
excited. Yeah, the north side, I think.
Yeah, so I'm at the games, both the boys and the girls. So I see the excitement. I see the parents, the grandparents, the fans. I see the players. You talk about defining moments in somebody's life. That's what you're about to see.
Yeah, it's evident by my brother's game. He had one of his best games playing in the football all-star game. So that was such a cool atmosphere to even watch it. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like to play in it.
One of the highlights of your year, according to your coach, was, I didn't realize this even though I follow area sports pretty closely, a triple-double this year against GET. You know how many players have? I never had a triple-double, by the way. I don't know how many people have, but what an accomplishment that was.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that until someone told me. It didn't feel like it, but I don't know.
Here's what's interesting about Chloe Halverson. Do you know that I think there are two kinds of athletes, two kinds of basketball players. One, a basketball player that's gifted, certainly, somewhat maybe consumed with himself or herself, looking for the spotlight, likes to have the ball. The other athlete, the other basketball player, makes other people on the team better because of her or his presence. Get the distinction? Now, looking at your statistics in terms of assists, where you are one of the top assist givers, I'll say, in the state of Wisconsin in your division, that describes Chloe Halverson. Points? Absolutely. Rebounds? Yes. But assists is really what stands out statistically and when I watch you play. You make other players better. Did you know that?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I've always had to just hit whoever's open, that kind of mentality. Not necessarily it's whoever can score, scores. I feel like that's just what makes the best team, so whatever I can do to win, I guess.
Yeah. That says a lot about who you are. Well, should we talk to your dad a little bit?
Yeah.
So, of course, I got to know you. You probably don't remember me because people don't like to remember referees, but I remember you when you were a three-sport star in our Independence.
Correct.
I remember you reading about the fact that you had a tryout with the Phillies and the Dodgers. So, again, you probably don't remember referees from La Crosse, Wisconsin, but that's how I got to know who you were.
I played a little bit. Actually, a lot of credit goes to my parents. My dad had actually a professional contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was a 1,000-point scorer for Independence High School and was an All-American high school football player. So we had pretty good genes in our family.
I never knew any of that.
Yeah, there was actually a pretty good article written on him last year in the Trumbull Times. Actually, it complimented Chloe and her in the background. I was going to send it to you, and I forgot to.
That's okay, but you just told me about it. So then I remember you. Well, I remember you as a coach, but prior to that, I remember you as a head coach for 10 years at Arcadia, and of course that team was always. When you think of Arcadia basketball under your leadership, you think of competitive, you think of defense, you think of well coached, you think of a team that was intense. Maybe because the coach was intense also. But prior to that, you were a JV coach. You coached at Black River. You coached at Melrose Mindoro. You taught various levels, first grade, fourth grade, and so on at the elementary schools, and then you became principal. But going back to your years as the coaching at all those levels, any things that really stands out as like some aha moments for you?
Actually, coaching kind of fell into my hands, Terry. I wasn't going to coach at all, but Steve Frederick, I don't know if you remember Steve from Melrose Mindoro.
I remember when he died, too.
Yeah.
Good person.
Actually, he died on his funeral was on my oldest daughter's birthday. She was born that day.
By the way, he was an administrator at Melrose Mindoro.
Yeah.
For those of you, our viewers that don't remember, but I worked a lot of games for him when he was at Melrose.
This little side bit about him, he always stood by the door like this.
I remember.
Yeah, walked through, and I remember my senior year, I walked through and he said, "Halverson, aren't you ever going to graduate?" So I played little varsity basketball for a while. And then when I got interviewed by him, he walked through and nodded at me and kind of knew I had the job.
Really?
I felt very comfortable in front of him.
You probably were the only person interviewed.
Maybe.
So, but then I remember you having a lot of success with some really good players at Arcadia. I can remember all your fans, too. If they didn't like a referee, by the way, you heard about it.
I think it was probably at the Westby regional final when we played Bob.
Constantly?
Constantly, yeah. And that was the first time we'd been to the regional finals for quite a while. And yeah, you roughed that one. It was a heck of a ball game. We ended up getting beat, but that was the start of actually where we started to turn the corner of Arcadia basketball, really.
Well, I ref that game where Arcadia got beat, and he still wants to be on the show. It was like, no, but it was probably Rod Ostrom and I that worked that
Correct.
game.
Yep.
So, yeah, we worked a lot of state tournaments together too. But so you had any before we go to break, any athletes that stand out that were some of your favorites as a head coach?
Actually, yeah, quite a few of them. Guy like Andy Meinertz, Craig Thomas, two great leaders that I had. In fact, I just had their team up to my cabin up in Lake Holcomb. That's how much I respect those kids, and just, I love them. Tyler Manley was another great ball player of mine. I had Jordan Rumpel, two really good ball players. What else did you think? Zach Bisek, yep, Tim Rendahl. Really good kids.
You had some great teams in it. It was always special to work games at Arcadia. Not only because of fan support, because of players, I mean, but because of fan support. And you had to be on your toes every time you worked a game, no question about it. Well, we're going to step aside just for a minute. When we come back, more here on Seven Rivers Sports. We'll be right back.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Seven Rivers Sports, special show this week with Paul and Chloe Halverson from Arcadia. After stepping away from coaching for 10 years, you decide to come back and coach as a volunteer for the girls team, and Chloe, of course, being a player. Despite your medical setbacks, you volunteered because you wanted to pay back or pay forward to the Arcadia girls team.
Absolutely. I have a little knowledge in basketball. And Luke Pacell, the coach, actually coached under me for 6 years. And he just asked if I would volunteer. And actually, I did it by necessity because I wanted to be at all of our games. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to. And lo and behold, I actually fell in love coaching again.
I'll bet you did. But, you know, I love this saying. Setbacks are not designed to paralyze someone. They're designed to reveal your true character. And you were diagnosed with a serious illness, and you have taken the high road. Share your story, please.
About 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and yeah, there have been some setbacks. In fact, I have some spasms that I go through, kind of unpredictable. And actually, during the first half of the CFC game this year, I got one during this national anthem. Had to leave the gym, do what I do, and I got back the second half. But yeah, it's something that I just have to deal with.
You told me before we went on the air, though, that brighter days are ahead.
I hope so, yes. I have deep brain stimulation on May 11th. They are going to hopefully focus on some areas that will get rid of my shaking and hopefully live a little bit better life.
True character revealed with Paul Halverson despite a very serious setback. Well, Chloe, your resume is so long, we have to extend this show. But you're a three-sport athlete, honors in all three sports, academic honor roll, Student of the Month, National Honor Society, Vice President, Student Council. You ready for this? HOSA President, H-O-S-A, an acronym for?
It's like the health science and stuff like
Okay. Okay.
Health occupations.
Okay. And so did you ever think when you were growing up that you would have accomplished everything? And here you have a few months left in your senior year.
Not really. I don't know. I kind of just live by the year. I don't know. I didn't really think about the future as much as, I guess.
I know you're humble. I know you're reserved. But you're also proud of what you've accomplished.
Yes. I mean, I've kind of worked my whole life for everything. Like him being a coach, I was just a little girl trying to play horse with the little boys and work in the summers and stuff like that. So I've definitely been rewarded with what I've done in the off seasons.
Speaking of him, your dad sitting next to you, you said, a lot of times when I'll ask who inspired you, who's your role model? And guests will say, well, like, I don't know, Muhammad Ali and Brett Favre. They'll name like several people, in addition to maybe family members, okay? Not you. 2 words, my dad.
Yeah, so he kind of mentioned the thing about Parkinson's disease, and I don't know, what the most I've got out of it is strength. I even got a tattoo in his writing that literally says strength, because it's just crazy how positive he can be through everything he goes through.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with emotions. It reveals a true character too. And you know, I was reading too that you're going to Carroll College. By the way, you have the ability to play college ball.
That's what made this season a little bit, like, with the COVID and everything, I was thankful that I have more seasons ahead of me, so even if we have been stripped with some experiences, I have next year at least, and the following years.
Yeah, and I'm going to be, we'll have you back on the show talking about your first year at Carroll College. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
But you're going to Carroll College because you have been inspired to go into physical therapy.
Yeah. So with that, I was narrowing between being a dentist, a PA, or a physical therapist, and I took a CNA course, and I learned that I had a love for geriatrics and stuff like that. Absolutely love that, and through my volunteering at the nursing home and stuff like that, I've always loved to babysit. So I was like, that's children, and then of course to help people with illnesses and stuff like that. So if being a physical therapist, I can incorporate all 3. So I thought that was perfect. And
awesome. And you know, and I look at your resume again. You talk about the fact, well, you have 2 jobs, you volunteer, you're top of the honor roll, you play 3 sports. I mean, come on. Is there any time for Chloe?
there is, on the weekends.
Because then I read in your resume that you, well, you do some of the same stuff I like to do. You bike, you hike, you like to go to the beach. you like, oh, wait a minute, she likes to do something I don't do, and that's you sing.
Yeah, I was actually in an a cappella group my sophomore year, and then I always sing in the car. My dad do duets in the car. On the way here we did.
Well, can you reveal for our viewers what you sang?
That's a private concert.
Oh, okay. Well, can you reveal some of your favorite artists?
I don't know. I like all genres. I don't know.
Do you?
I like Luke Combs, but I also like,
Ooh, me too.
yeah.
We do a good Gambler, the Gambler by Kenny Rogers.
Ah, I know that one.
Yeah, we do that one.
One of my favorite artists, and my kids are like, they don't like my kind of music, but I like guys like Josh Groban. He's kind of a Christian singer, but I mean he's and I like a country western. Like my brother used to play a lot too, and I talked about him before we went on the air. But philosophy of life, for a young person, you have an interesting philosophy of life, and it starts with the word kindness.
Yeah. When you sent me that profile, I was like, I mean, I didn't know where to go with it, but it's true. Everything stems from kindness. Like my dad always said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Just being kind to people, it can get you so far in life.
Yeah, and leadership is getting that from your mom and dad, is about doing whatever it takes to inspire others. That's you too. Well, you know, I talked to Bruce Weitzel, who's a friend of mine, and here's what he said about, first about Paul Halverson. He said he started teaching and coaching in Arcadia when you were a basketball player at Independence, and then he helped introduce you to a girl by the name of Peggy Sabona. But what he said to me, I can't read the whole thing, but what he said more than anything else, it just was powerful. Upon meeting you, he knew that you were a special person, the type of person that gives every fiber of everything that you do with your family, as coach, as principal, as friend, and you make other people better by being around attributes that you instill in your people that you surround yourself with.
That's very kind of him. He is one of my best friends, so he has to be nice to me. But yes, he helped introduce my future wife, and still married to her after 26 years. And she's our rock of our family. We might get some of the glory, but she's the rock.
Well, in case our viewers are wondering, the rock in our family happens to be Sue Erickson too, even though she's not the host of Seven Rivers Sports. But Chloe, Bruce said, Chloe, he's known you your entire life, and he is one of your biggest fans. She's a young lady with that does everything for other people. She's not into fame, self-promotion, self-advancement. She is good to the core. You know something? I can tell that, and this is the first time I've ever had a conversation with Chloe. And with the family, it's the sum of the parts that really matter. And Bruce said, like I feel too, that you're in second gear and you're on the way to your third gear, and you're going to shine in your next chapter of your life. What do you think of those thoughts?
Well, thank you, Bruce. But, yeah.
Surprise you?
No, he talks to me quite a bit too. I know what he thinks.
Well, you know, you mentioned you were an assistant coach under Coach Pasale, and he said, what about you, Paul, that what a privilege it was to have you on the bench this year, and you understand the big picture, and being a volunteer coach. You understand the big picture rather than what's going on necessarily during the game or after the game.
I'll tell you what, getting my degree, servant leadership from Viterbo, kind of helped with that, actually. Very, very narrow focused at one time, basketball.
Attention to detail.
Yep, attention to detail. And yeah, Viterbo brought that out of me, actually.
Well, we have something in common, because my master's is in servant leadership at Viterbo too.
There you go.
I always kid people, I'm the oldest person in the history of Viterbo University to get their master's degree. I'm not sure if that's true, but it's pretty close.
That's a great program, I'll tell you what.
And Chloe, according to Coach Pasale, she had a huge part in helping your teammates reach 1,000 points in your career, and the epitome of being a true leader. That's what you assumed your role was. I mean, you maybe weren't told that you needed to be a leader. You just took right over.
Yep. Whatever to do to win and help the team, I guess.
Speaking of win, you mentioned that one of your defining moments was when you went to state last year, 2020, and I remember watching on TV, and you got beat by Platteville, I believe.
Yeah.
But your season was 23-4, and that certainly was one of your defining moments.
Yeah. Losing by 3 was tough. Having 88 fans after we were told that we had 6 fan buses on our way, so many people driving, and like the fans being the ones who kind of helped us get there, and then having to play on an empty court. But we were lucky we got to be one of those only games to play on the Rush Center floor, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy fun experience.
I really liked this, too. Your favorite saying, I'm not going to put you on the spot because you typed this a few weeks ago, but...
I think I remember. Don't count the days, make the days count. Is that what I said?
Well, that's a good one, but...
I didn't say that.
You said that one of your favorite sayings is one that I like, but I'll say it in a different way. Don't settle for mediocrity. Don't be lukewarm, like Coach Bennett would say. Don't be lukewarm. Put everything into each and every day and each and everything you do. But to use your phraseology, you said good enough is usually not. And the author of that saying happens to be the guy right next to you.
Yeah. It's kind of in everything I do, but I remember when he told me that, I was in 5th grade, I was doing homework, and I was like, oh, this is good enough, and that's what he told me. And then I thought about that later, and it's like, well, yeah, that applies to everything. If you're going to be great at something, good enough is not going to work.
No, not good enough. Good enough is just a token effort. No. Good enough is not good enough in anything in life if you have the capabilities to do better. All right, well, you're speaking to the graduating class at the 6th grade at Arcadia. And you're talking to student athletes as we close the show. You're speaking to 6th grade boys and girls that are graduating and moving on to middle school. What are you going to tell them? What kind of advice are you going to give them?
Don't take for granted anything. It goes so fast. I know everyone says that, but it's true. And there's so many opportunities, even in Arcadia. There's so many things that you can just go get. Find your spark, as Mr. Holmen would say, and go get it.
And you've done that.
Yes.
But the guy that ignited that spark happens to be the guy next to you.
I guess.
Right? Well, you know, one of the blessings that I have is hosting the show, because I get to meet people that are special. I'm sure you agree. They inspire me. I hope they inspire you. Guests this week, Paul and Chloe Halverson, Arcadia High School. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Rick and I were at Swanson Field on Friday night, the battle for the Arc, the Logan Rangers and the Central Riverhawks. This rivalry goes back to 1928. Those that thought this game would be a mismatch were thoroughly surprised as the Riverhawks had beaten all 4 of their opponents by at least 10 points. Logan, on the other hand, was 1-3 on the season. Central went ahead in the first quarter on a Trevin Smith 7-yard run, followed by a PAT kick by senior Drew Johnson. Logan scored its only first-half TD in the second quarter, a 2-yard run by senior Martell Owens, and a PAT by freshman Daniil Roberts. 7-7 at intermission. Early in the third, a 35-yard field goal by Central's player of the game, Drew Johnson. The Rangers followed with an impressive drive culminating in a 2-yard touchdown run by senior Dorellis Phillips and another Roberts PAT. 14-10 Logan after 3. The Ranger defense stiffened in the fourth quarter, turning away the Riverhawks numerous times from the end zone. Josh Waite found 6'5" senior Jack McCusick for the final Logan TD to solidify the win. Logan senior Trent Whelan had a major factor in the win on both sides of the ball, and he was our player of the game. He rushed for 156 yards while sacking Riverhawk quarterback Mason Herlitsky 3 times with highlight reel hits. Central was held to 34 yards rushing, and they end their season with a respectable 4-1 record. Logan, at 2-3, will house the coveted Arc in their display case for the next 4 years. Final, Logan High School 20 and Central High School 10. Well, our other crew was at Empire Stadium as the Holmen Vikings played host to the Eau Claire North Huskies. High drama to begin the game as senior Drew Evenson was on the field to handle the kickoff duties just 6 months after being diagnosed with leukemia. Evenson surprised everyone with an onside kick to open the game, with Holmen's Nathan Navala recovering the kick. That set up, wouldn't you know it, Nathan Navala's run of 8 yards for a TD, 7-0 Vikings. 2 more TDs in the second by Andrew Weiss and Sam Barnett, 21-0 Holmen at half. The Vikings continued to dominate in the second half. 2 TDs in quarter number 3 by Luke LeClaire from 44 yards out using his legs, then LeClaire to Connor Weiss for an 11-yard touchdown. The final TD, a 2-yard run by Cooper Moling. LeClaire was held to just 43 total yards while Holmen totaled 390 yards. Holmen finishes the year 3-2 while Eau Claire will host Sparta on Friday at Carson Park, and we'll be in Eau Claire to bring you that game beginning at 4:30. Final, Holmen 42, Eau Claire North 0. Well, that's it this week here on Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.